messed up with the scream noise, that's what we're going to make. So first thing we need to do is go download a couple files. So go ahead and go to our tech page, click into the tech part. If you scroll down a little bit, you should see a couple links here. We're going to need to download these 4 things. So go ahead and click, the maze background, the white dot, the scream noise, and then I use this scary nun. You can download what I use. I don't care if you also download your own scary picture, but whatever you want to do is fine, but we need to have some kind of image that's going to pop up and scare people. So use those if you want. You do definitely need these 3 though. So when you download them, you should see down here, like this little thing right here, you could just click this little arrow and say show in folder. They are all in your downloads folder. So it might not be a bad idea to like move them out of your downloads folder into a little place where you can remember, or you can just keep them in downloads and try to find them. Once you've downloaded the 4 files, you need to go to App Inventor. And we need to go to Projects and then Start a New Project. We're going to build something brand new. So this is the first one that you're building totally from scratch without some kind of PLTW tutorial or built app for you. Call it what you want. I'm just going to call it Scary Maze. I can't have spaces, so Scary Maze Game. You can call it what you want. I'm going to hit OK. And I get to a blank project window. So first step that we need to do is scroll down over here, and we're going to spend a lot of our time in this drawing and animation tab. So if I click that, I need to drag out a canvas. A canvas is some kind of background that you can actually interact with. So you can like move stuff around, you can have moving sprites on it or images. So it's the same thing that your germ guide game or your build-a-body game would have had to have in the background. So I'm going to take the canvas, I'm going to drag and drop it right here in my app. So from here, I need to actually set up this canvas background to the maze picture that we downloaded. So I'm going to make sure I'm on my canvas. I go over here to the background image. So it says none. We need to change that. So I open that up. I need to upload a file. So I go into there. I hit choose file. And you need to go to your downloads folder and find those files. So for example, here's maze background. So I'm going to open that up. I'm going to hit OK. So this is a potential problem that I've noticed. If you try to use these ones that have like the parentheses 1, like this extra, sometimes the file doesn't like it. So if you downloaded duplicates like that, make sure you don't bring in that like extra file name with the parentheses 1. So I need to go find the very original one that I did. So for me, I moved everything into a folder. So mine is in PLTW, App Inventors, Scary Maze. Here we go. So again, notice my files don't have any of those duplicate parentheses 1 or anything. That's probably why that happens. So I'm going to hit OK. Now you can see my app, or my maze. So I've got my maze background. Now I need to make a little thing that I'm going to move around the maze. In this case, to keep it simple, we're going to use a ball. So right over here, right above the canvas, I'm going to drag the ball into my maze somewhere around there. I'm going to assume my blue is my start, my red's my end point. And just put your ball somewhere around there. You can change the color over here if you want. Make it whatever color you want. Doesn't matter. All right. Once we've got a ball on our canvas, and notice the ball's like inside the canvas. It's like a part of it now. The last thing I need to do on my design screen for right now is to bring an image sprite out. So I'm going to take this image sprite. Again, this is kind of like those germs or the body parts that you used before. These image sprites can move around on the canvas. So I'm going to take this, and you need to put it somewhere within your maze that is going to kind of trigger the scream noise to happen. So maybe as the person is moving the ball throughout and they're really concentrating around these edges, you can put this germ or this image sprite somewhere around here. Keep it in the white. We don't want it in the black walls, but somewhere in the middle of the path. Okay. So what we need to do is change this image sprite into a trap spot. So when the ball collides with it or touches it, it's going to trigger the screen to change and like the scary picture to pop up with the noise. So what I want to do is I want to change this little image sprite picture to become that white dot image that we downloaded, so that it'll basically blend into this white path and you won't even be able to see it. So I'm going to make sure I'm on the image sprite. I'm going to go down over here to picture where it says none. I need to upload, choose a file, and I need to find that little white dot image. All right, so I'm going to open that, hit OK. And what you can see is it basically becomes invisible. It's still there. You can see I can click on it, but it's not visible, which is good because we want to make it kind of a hidden spot that we can interact with. All right. Next step, let's just go ahead and while we're here, let's set up the other screen. We've not done this before. Up here, we can go to add a screen. So I'm going to hit that. You can just keep it as screen 2. You can call it whatever you want, but for this video, I'm just going to keep it as screen 2. I'm going to hit OK. And when you do that, it makes it. You have to actually switch to it. So if it doesn't automatically switch, you have to go up to this little pull-down menu. You can switch between your 2 screens up here. So now I'm on screen 2. This one is pretty simple. We are just going to add an image. So I'm going to drag an image onto here. And I need to set this background of this image to our scary picture. So I'm going to go to picture. I'm going to upload a file. I'm going to choose a file. And again, I have this creepy nun from some movie, I don't know. So I'm going to keep that in there. You could make it a little bigger if you wanted. Like I could try to like stretch the height out maybe. I'm probably not really going to mess with it too much because, you know, if I do that, or you can change like the direction of it. I don't care. You can play with it if you want. Or you can scale picture to fit right here. But again, I think that looks kind of weird sometimes. But maybe that's a little bit more scary. That's up to you. I'm just going to keep it normal right here. Again, we're doing a couple things ahead of time. So some of this stuff will make more sense as we get into the coding, but let's just set it up here as we are on this design screen. I want you to drag a button. So I'm just going to drop a button on there. And if it doesn't show up, we might have to move my my witch back, or my nun. I put it back to automatic because it was pushing my button off the screen. Basically, this button is just going to be like a reset button. So it resets the game back to the other screen. So I'm just going to change the text to reset, just so we can have a way to get back. The last thing that I want to add is a sound effect. So we added that. Remember we downloaded that scream, so we want to make the scream play. So I'm going to go to media, and I'm going to grab a sound. So I'll drag and drop the sound, and you can just drop it anywhere on this app. All right. So remember from that very first app we did, I think, we need to make sure that the sound has the scream noise attached to it so it knows what to play. So I'm on my sound, I go over to the source of the sound, and I need to upload a file and go and find this scream noise that we downloaded. So you might have to, again, find it in your downloads folder, but here's my scream noise. I put it in that folder for me to keep it organized. All right, so I'm pretty much done with my my designer screen. So I'm going to go back to my screen 1 just to make sure I got my canvas, I got my ball, got my image sprite, things are good. All right, so what we need to do is go to the block screen now. So we're going to go to the code of all this. And make sure when you go here that you're on screen 1. Sometimes if you were on screen 2 and you go to the blocks, remember you're on the blocks of screen 2, and that won't really work. So make sure when we're on the block screen that we are on screen 1, because we want to code the maze part first. All right. First thing that we want to do is I'm going to initialize some variables. So I'm going to drag out 2 of these orange initialize blocks. So kind of like we did with the Build-A-Body, where we had all those starting X, Y positions for your body parts. We're going to do kind of the same thing for the ball. So I'm going to call this ball start X. I'm going to call this ball start Y. And then I'm going to drag in 2 little math blocks. So math, and then just the numbers. And again, we need to go check the X, Y coordinates of where that ball is. So if I go back to my designer, I click the ball, it tells me the ball is at X254, Y16. Yours might be a little bit different, and that's okay. Just find your numbers, and then we're going to go back and type them in. The X value is 254, Y value is 16. So we're just going to keep that over to the side. That's just going to be for later when we want the ball to reset back to its original location. All right, so next step. I need to program this ball to move around. So I'm going to click the ball down here. I'm going to use when ball dragged. So we're going to have a lot of stuff within this code. The first thing is when I drag the ball, I should call it to move. So I go back in the ball. I say down here in the purple, I say call ball1 to move. And just like the last app, we want to make it follow my finger, so my current XY coordinates. So I'm going to take my little option right here for current X and my current Y. Okay, so now the ball is going to follow my finger around the screen to my current XY position. Now this part's the part that's a little bit tricky. It's stuff that we haven't done before, but follow with me here. I'm going to go to the control tab, and I'm going to grab an if-then. I'm going to drop it right here underneath. All right. We need to make it say if the ball touches the black border, then it needs to go back to their original spot. So like if you are, going around the maze and you hit a wall, it should reset back to the beginning, because it shouldn't just be able to like swing right to the edge or right to the finishing point without getting to the end. Okay, so we need to make a way that says if the ball is not touching white, meaning if I ever go out of my white path, then it's going to reset. So I had to really think about how I would do this on this one. I kind of did a bunch of trial and error. Here's how I did it. So I'm going to use the logic block. So I'm going to pick this one that says this equal to block right here. So I'm going to say if something is equal to something else. So here's how I did this. I changed this equal to not equal. Okay. So I'm going to say if my ball position is not touching white, it's going to do something. So I'm going to go over here on my block over here for colors, which we haven't really used too much before. But I'm going to just use this white one. So I'm going to say if not white. Okay, but I need to figure out how to make it read where I'm at on the screen, where my current XY coordinates are. So I'm going to go to canvas. Actually, let's pause here and let's continue in the second video because I'm going to run out of time. So get to this point and then follow up with the second video to finish it off. We're almost done.